Severe thunderstorms are likely going to be an issue this afternoon and evening across several regions of Texas. That could include a threat of giant hail, hurricane force wind gusts, maybe a little bit of spinny, spinny, doom, doom action, along with heavy rainfall and lightning. Let's talk about it in this Thursday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It's the 9th of May, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Boldy and Chief David Reimer. We are going to be dealing with more thunderstorms this afternoon into this evening across the state. We definitely didn't have to deal with too many yesterday. I think that is going to be a distinct change for today, with a much higher chance for several severe thunderstorms across portions of the state. Let's just get into the severe weather outlook and talk about the possibilities. Storm Prediction Center is highlighting the potential for scattered to several severe thunderstorms this afternoon through the evening hours across, well, at this point, the eastern Concho Valley, the Hill Country, North Texas, Texoma, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas, East Texas, Northeast Texas, the Ark-La-Tex, even into parts of Texoma. The most intense storms this afternoon and this evening could produce giant hail up to or exceeding the size of a grapefruit or softball. The strongest storms may also be capable of producing hurricane force wind gusts of 75 to 85 miles per hour. The potential for a couple of tornadoes. The overall tornado threat is not high today. We have pretty weak low-level wind shear, but that will be offset to some degree by extreme amounts of instability in the atmosphere. You know how when you step outside, it feels like you're in the Gulf of Mexico? Yeah, that's jet fuel. That's octane. There's a lot of instability and energy for thunderstorms. And that's why yesterday evening we saw storms go from nothing to dropping golf ball size hail in the span of 15 minutes northeast of the DFW Metroplex. Today, strongest storms, again, they're going to be rowdy. We may have a few showers and storms underway late this morning with maybe some pocket change size hail threat in parts of North Texas, the Concho Valley. But the main show likely will not begin until early this afternoon. Now, we may start pretty early today compared to, say, yesterday. The first storms could be underway not long after lunch across portions of the Big Country, North Texas, and then that threat would move southeastward and east this afternoon, this evening, into maybe the nighttime hours. Hopefully, we might actually be done with this kind of before the nighttime hours, maybe. We'll see. That'd be nice. Let's take a look at the high-res rapid refresh model. It's going to be the 6 Zulu run from earlier this morning. You can see this thing does have a few showers and storms in North Texas late this morning, but doesn't really get things going until early this afternoon. And then once it gets going, it really gets going with isolated to scattered severe storms. Parts of the Big Country, North Texas, even into parts of Texoma, Northeast Texas. You can see the initial storm movement will be to the east-northeast, and then eventually the more intense supercells will likely start moving southeast, and we could see a cluster or a couple of clusters evolve by dinner time into the evening hours that would move south-southeast into portions of Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas, and eventually maybe even parts of Southeast Texas this evening, tonight, into early Friday morning. And again, the strongest of these storms could be quite significant in terms of producing really big hail, hurricane force wind gusts, and again, a low threat for a few tornadoes, along with plenty of cloud-to-ground lightning and heavy rainfall. You can see this model also, it really, with the early start, would really kind of have this winding down for us by, midnight? I'm not sure I buy that solution tonight, but it'd be a nice change, versus having storms at 3 in the morning, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. We'll have to also keep an eye out for boundaries that may be left over from yesterday's thunderstorms or late last night / this morning's thunderstorms, because those could be focal points for additional thunderstorm development. Otherwise, our main focal point for storm development this afternoon will be a dry line cold front slowly moving southeast into the risk zones. Outside of that, you can see tomorrow, we may see a few storms tomorrow that should mostly behave across portions of West Texas, eastern New Mexico, into the Permian Basin, but tomorrow does not look like a particularly active day for thunderstorms, which would be nice. Wildfire danger over the next few days. Today, it's going to be the highest across the Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Concho Valley, into the Edwards Plateau, the Guadalupe Mountains, the Davis Mountains, the Trans-Pecos, the Big Bend, into the borderland of far west Texas, with very high to extreme wildfire danger, generally moderating as we go into the weekend with the arrival of cooler temperatures and some precipitation chances across the western half of the state, at least Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then those chances will spread east as we get into Sunday. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the forecast for the weekend. You can see most weather models are in agreement. We're going to be unsettled with scattered shower and thunderstorm chances on Saturday, and probably more so on Sunday, especially across the eastern two-thirds of Texas. For what it's worth, this isn't really looking like a severe weather setup at this point, but we could have some locally heavy rainfall. Obviously, that would exacerbate issues across portions of the Brazos Valley in southeast Texas, where we've just had all sorts of issues over the last couple weeks. You can see the rain chances continuing into Monday as well. We'll refine the weekend rain chances and, stuff next week, as a fairly unsettled weather pattern will stick around. But again, it looks like we're going to switch from a severe thunderstorm issue to more of just is it going to rain issue, with some locally heavy rainfall possible. The overall threat for maybe a few storms with pocket change size hail gusty winds won't be zero over the weekend, but it definitely doesn't look like we're going to be doing the whole holy moly guacamole, there's softballs falling out of the sky like we might be doing this afternoon. Forecast rain totals. This is going to be today through 7 a.m. Tuesday. These have definitely come up, much so thanks to the possibility of that widespread rain on Sunday and Monday across the eastern half of Texas. We're now expecting, from the Weather Prediction Center, 1 to 3 inches of rain on average across Texoma, the Ark-La-Tex, northeast Texas, North Texas, central Texas, the Brazos Valley, east Texas, and southeast Texas. But we do note there is the possibility of some folks getting 3 to 5 inches of rain, especially across east Texas, southeast Texas. That would certainly be enough with saturated soils to cause a new renewed flooding threat, especially across southeast Texas as we get into Sunday and Monday. This is something we will be closely watching for, given the fact the rivers are all still quite high, the watersheds are quite high, and this would just add more water onto that. But if there's a small blessing, it's that we've had several days of at least dry weather across those regions, so hopefully the soils can at least take a little bit of the moisture before it just starts completely running off into the local tributaries and watersheds. Across the western half of the state, well, y'all actually need the rain, so this is good for y'all into the hill country. At this point, forecasting 1/4 to maybe an inch of rain. The Panhandle, West Texas, eastern Permian Basin, northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, into the hill country, Edwards Plateau. And again, some folks may end up with 1 to 2 inches of rain, especially if you end up under a slow-moving thunderstorm over the next few days. So for some, this is going to be a problem in the flooding department, especially, the eastern third of Texas into southeast Texas. But for others, we still need rain. We still need more water to fill up the watershed. So if we could shift this west, I think everyone would be perfectly content with that. But Mother Nature does not care what we want, unfortunately. That is not in her prerogative whatsoever. All right, hot temperatures over the next few days. With that cold front moving south, definitely going to be cooler across the northern, let's say 30 to 40% of Texas this afternoon. Should be less humid by some point, too, hopefully, behind that cold front. Highs in the 70s and 80s. Across the southern two-thirds of Texas, it's going to be another brutally unpleasant day in terms of early summer heat and humidity. Highs in the 90s to the triple digits. 108 in Laredo, 104 in Del Rio. It looks like we may hit 100 in San Antonio this afternoon. 107 in McAllen, 102 in Brownsville. 91 in Houston, with humidity making it feel like 105. It's just not, no. But worry not, the cold front will bring some relief. Tomorrow, high temperatures across the northern two-thirds of Texas, 70s to low 80s, still in the upper 80s to maybe mid-90s. Southeast Texas, back southwest along the coastal bend, the Rio Grande Plains, the Rio Grande Valley, deep south Texas, but that's still, a good at least for deep south Texas, a 10-degree drop. But guess what? Not done. Here's Saturday. Highs in the 60s, 70s to middle 80s across a majority of the state. Exceptions, deep south Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, southern portions of the Big Bend, out into the borderland of far west Texas. The Davis Guadalupe Mountains really blocking most of this cold front from going too far west, so it's going to be 88 on Saturday in El Paso, still around 91 in McAllen. Rest of the state, though, you're either going to be in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and hopefully it will feel so much less humid, or at least the dew point values hopefully will be coming down. Hopefully. Start a bit of a warm-up on Sunday across the Rio Grande Plains, deep south Texas, the Permian Basin, the Trans-Pecos, Big Bend, back up into the 90s. Rest of the state with increased precipitation chances and cloud cover still holding down the 70s to 80s. And as we go into Monday, we'll start actually warming up across most of the state, but still 70s to middle 80s, northeastern 60% of the state. Back to near 100 by the time you're in the Rio Grande Valley, deep south Texas, the Rio Grande Plains, and the Edwards Plateau. And, well, we're going to stay active next week, it looks like, with a warming trend, as you might expect, as we continue into mid-May. So, again, we could be getting started a bit early today. Most storms will not be throwing out softballs or hurricane-force winds or tornadoes, but the most intense ones today very well could. So you're going to want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the weather radar as we get into the afternoon, evening hours. And hey, you can do that with the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Open your fancy super duper mobile device, search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device, and you'll find us. Interactive weather radars, your local weather forecast. We'll have live severe weather coverage if necessary, along with live storm chasing video. You can watch it from the mobile app. And of course, you can visit us on the web, texasstormchasers.com/radar for the website radar. And of course, we can't forget y'all on the Texas Weather Center YouTube channel. Thank you so much for helping us hit 33,000 subscribers in the last few days. It's been busy, that's for sure, but we appreciate so many of y'all joining our community and helping us share the latest in Mama Nature's temper tantrums. So, with that being said, we'll chat with y'all later this afternoon, most definitely. We'll have chasers out and about with live storm chasing video. They'll probably be trying their best to see how big of a hailstone they can take to their vehicle, because let's be honest, most storm chasers do take hailstones as trophies. Hail dents on vehicles, kind of the trophy thing. Well, most of y'all are like, ew. Well, we all have our hobbies. All right, we'll be keeping an eye on things. We'll chat with y'all later. Have a great Thursday. Try not to get hit on the head with hail. God bless.